Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another recap of College Hill Celebrity Edition Season 2, Episode 5, Magic City, here we come. So as y'all know, it is now midterms week. Day 1 is the group has to do act their midterm. So basically, the professor told them that they had to act out certain job titles to do for the midterm. So half of them showed up, as y'all know. I told you in the last episode. Ray J, Amber, and Jocelyn went behind because Ray J had to find his phone. So once he found his phone, Iman, while he's in class, he ends up calling, and everybody ended up calling because if their partners don't show, they really got it incomplete. It ain't none of them trying to get it incomplete. So they're calling, nobody answers. Next thing you know, 2 minutes later, in walks Amber, Jocelyn, and Ray J. Ray J is dressed to impress, impressed. So everybody did their parts for their acting midterm. And let's just say, I think they all passed that one. I'm surprised at Ray J this time. Okay, he is on it. So after the acting midterm, they move on to their French midterm. So in that one, they had to basically hold a conversation, but in French. So everybody did theirs, from what I see. When it came time for Ray J and Jocelyn to do theirs, they kind of I would say improv'd it a little bit, but they still tried and did a good job. So after that, midterms was over. They went back to the house. I guess they chilled. Ate dinner, whatever. Jocelyn, Orion, and Parker cleaning up the kitchen and stuff like that. She talked about how she hates being in the kitchen. Her favorite job is, the hip thruster in the bedroom. And Parker and Orion is laughing as they're cleaning up and stuff like that. Next thing you know, that's finished. Parker, she goes upstairs to her room, and she's talking on the phone to her mom, basically telling her how midterms is going and how she joined the Stingers, which is a dance group. And her mama just she said she's proud of her. And, she's also, since going to HBCU, she's getting more in touch with the black side of her because she's biracial. Her mom is white, her dad's black. And her mom basically just gave her some encouraging words and Parker's thoughts on how everything has turned out so far. She was like, I'm actually glad and I'm proud of myself because, the irony in it. When I was younger, I did not want to dance. But, now look at me. I'm doing what I'm doing. So, yeah. And she could have had done it all along. How she had believed in herself and had a little bit more faith. But, yeah. After that, Orion, Amber, and Ray is outside in the back having a little drink. And they start talking about how they think how their music culture was. Back in the day was their first curse word and stuff like that. And, when it got time for Amber to talk, she kind of got teary-eyed and emotional because, she's biracial. Her and Parker used to talks about that all the time. And just that she didn't fit in all the time. But, Ray gave her some encouraging words had you just been yourself or whatever. But then again, she also broke it down she dated both sides. She dated both the white guys and the black guys. When she's with the black guys and they do something that she don't like, she's considered white. And that's always the label that they try to put on somebody. If they don't like something that's out of the norm, you consider this. Or for instance, no, we're gonna just do it like this. A fat person dating a skinny person. If a fat person decides to eat a little bit extra, regardless if they ate or not, and that skinny person see, oh, you consider fat because you want to eat this. No, maybe I was actually starving and I didn't get a chance to eat. So just because you see me eat this doesn't mean that. It's always a double standard when it comes to certain things, and it's just ugh. So she got emotional behind that. So she decided to ask Ray if they could change the subject because that hit a little bit too close to home for her, and she didn't want to be out there on feelings. vulnerable to these guys. So, yeah, that was that. Also, Magic City is coming up. So, Parker, Quay, and Tiffany are still in the works of that. So, Ray J, Amber, and Orion, they toast to having, new opportunities, new mindset, new everything because, like I said, midterms. They're doing midterms. Hopefully they do their best and whatnot. So now it's day 2 of midterms. They have their civil rights midterm where they had to find something in the past that relates to their life personally. Each one of them, I think, did a good job, and I liked how each one of them, they represented for their culture and hometown and ties to how it was back in the slave days. Everybody did an excellent job. Then when they got time to do their African American lit midterm, let's just say everybody did their best that they could. But I don't think all of them applied themselves to how it was supposed to go. It's like they were missing a connection that would have tied everything together. I honestly say they worked their butts off and they did the best they could. And hopefully they don't get penalized for it because, like the professor said, that grade was 20%. So yeah. When Tiffany and Parker did theirs, it's not the fact that they were laughing at Tiffany. They were laughing about the song. They was laughing at how Tiffany was singing. It was just like, it was so off key. When Orion, Iman, and Jocelyn did this, it was off key. You could tell it was just like dead. Like it was no enthusiasm, no life being brought to it. Like they could have did a little bit better. But then again, they're on crunch time because they got a whole bunch of stuff to do, other obligations. So I can honestly see where they would have fell short into certain areas. But whatever, nonetheless, that's not the case. They officially finished midterms. So now it's time to get into the Magic City. They have Magic City coming up. Jocelyn decides she's gonna go hang out with her husband. She's not gonna go chill out with the group. So it was now the next day. Ray J's been practicing on his French. But at the same time, Tiffany, she's going through it. She calls her friend. She's having a cocktail so she could basically unwind her mind because she got midterms. And then she's also doing the flagship. So it's like that's a lot to do on top of your schoolwork. So she's kind of going through it. So it's now like the next day, whatever, or later on that night. Tiffany, she's leaving. As she's leaving to go to the bathroom, she steps on some of Ray J's mess. Not for nothing. Every time they show Ray J, he's always eating something in the middle of the night in his bed. Like, why do you eat so much and you don't clean up after yourself? So they are outside in the back talking, whatever. And Tiffany goes to, I guess, address Ray J. And she's like so overwhelmed with anxiety and stuff like that. So come to find out, school has not been like her focus point throughout her whole life. But honestly, glad she did a lot to get where she's at now. So that's a good commitment. And the fact that she even thought about going back to school was an even bigger plus. So that shows that, she does what she got to do. So her and Ray J get into it. And I think Quay was like, don't cry. And she was like, I'm not crying. I'm not crying already. Because she was talking to Iman, like, she's having so much anxiety through the studies and the things like that. And she was like, listen, school has not always been my biggest my thing. And I don't use all my brain. And Ray J said something I can tell. Just because what somebody's struggling with does not need you to pinpoint and throw it in their face. And then, she started breaking down and crying. And then she took her for glasses. They thought she was crying. And she was like, listen, I'm not crying over Ray J. Like, what the heck? I'm about to whoop his behind. Like, he really hit below the belt right there. And Amber was like, she's going to clean up the house after school or whatnot. Because basically, it's like Ray J is living in the pigsty. You got mess after mess. And you a grown man. Like, get it together. Like, what? You was not a boy anymore. Grow up. Clean up after yourself. You was not a child. Like, the stuff you're doing is so uncomfortable, but whatever. Iman tries to like go help her and calm her down. He gives her a hug. And hopefully she pulls through. We got Quay practicing for the drum line. And he's still having like second thoughts of it being hard. But he's trying to stick it out and push through. Hopefully everything goes good because I'm rooting for them all. Yeah, so now it is Tiffany and Parker. They've all and Quay are all practicing for their performance that's supposed to happen the next day. So later on that night, Tiffany, she finds out where Ray J is in the back, and she basically brings it to his attention, and she apologized for how she spazzed out on him, and she was like, it's all because it had the butter cakes not been on the floor and he stepped in it, I wouldn't have went off on you. But he accepted her apology. Oh God. Whew. And he was like, I wasn't tripping behind it and all. And then they started talking about the butter cakes or whatever. So now it's the next day. Magic City Classic Day, baby. Yes. As y'all already know, Jocelyn is not there. So the rest of the group, pull up in the Sprinter. It's an amazing event. They all had to go to Birmingham, where they had to go at Alabama A&M University. I guess their stadium is way bigger, so it's like a whole group of people. They had music, barbecues, tailgating, everything. It was just like a big event. And Quay, Tiffany, and Parker had to go with their group so they can finish practicing and put in little finishing touches and it all. Meanwhile, they got to their tailgating spot, and Ray J, he picked up on the energy that Tiffany and Orion was giving to each other. You could tell there's like some chemistry there, like some chemistry. So they're barbecuing and whatnot, and Orion gets there and Tiffany offers, she was like, what do you want to drink? And he was like, some whiskey. She was like, so do you want a regular or do you want some lime that I can find and put in? He was like, that's fine. And Ray J, you can see over his shoulder, he's like, what y'all got going on? So at the same time, he walks up to where they is, and now they're talking about some food. And Orion picks up some strip and was like, can I feed it to you? She was like, yes, absolutely. And she's talking about, should I just take the tip or the head or the whole thing? And he was like, do whatever you want. And he slowly puts it into her mouth, and she just bites off the top. And then Ray J said something, or she said something about some valedictorian. And Ray J was like, oh, you need some valedictorian. I was like, and she's like, I'm trying to, but it's very hard. Like, okay, what you insinuating? It's about to go down. Okay, so now it's time for the performances. It's now halftime. So Quay does his thing. Tiffany does her thing. Parker does her thing. I guess they finally got out of the nerves that was in their heads that was trying to psych them out. Long story short, they did the damn thing. Everybody was recording. Everybody was just proud that their housemates did the thing. Like, I was really, really surprised because you remember in the beginning, they was stressing like, how I can't do this. This is too hard. And look at them. Pulled it off like it did them studies. Like, y'all got this in the bag. They did an amazing job. So now, they back at the house or whatnot. And Jocelyn's back from hanging with her man. And, they out in the back listening to music and whatnot. So everybody just having a good time. Vibing out and whatnot. So then Jocelyn comes out there and she wants to switch the music. And Quay feel like, nah, you shouldn't be doing that at first. Like, relax. We just got this. If you have a problem, just, pass the aux cord. So them two got into a heated argument. And he eventually, Quay walks off. And then Jocelyn was like, ugh, crybaby. Spoiled brat, my bad. And then Amber, she just sitting there like, whatever. So eventually she gets up and walks behind. So they go upstairs to their room. And Amber tells him, like, listen, I don't know what the deal is. Or why you over there crying? Like, it's just an aux cord. Like, bro, it's not that serious. But Quay was like, listen, you don't see where I'm coming from? And she was like, no. So them two go back and forth. And then at this point, Amber was like, I don't even care. So she ends up going to the closet to get some stuff, put it in a bag or whatever. And then Quay goes in there and was like, listen, can we talk? And she was like, I need a second. She was like, he was like, can we talk? Can we talk? She's like, I need a second. And she's like, nah, we could talk tomorrow. So he was like, all right, fine. Then he goes back to his bed. Next thing you know, you see Amber, she's going downstairs with her bag. So, yeah, hopefully, in the confessions, Quay was crying because it's like, he don't know if his friend is still going to be his friend. So, yeah, that's a lot to take in. And hopefully that little situation didn't blow up to something big. Because you know her Jocelyn getting her way. She be thinking this is her house instead of everybody else's house. It don't work that way, honey. It ain't your house, okay? So now, next week's episode is now what? Halloween is starting to approach. And they started noticing some crazy stuff going on in the house. So everybody's getting spooked up behind that. Now it's time for Dr. Petty to go. They go back to school. Dr. Petty was like, it's now time to issue your grades. So we going to see how everybody did. Like, did they pass their midterms or what? So, yeah. That concludes this episode recap. Hopefully, y'all tuning into BET Plus. But if y'all don't got BET Plus, like I always say, y'all can wait another couple of months for it to put it on BET. The choice is yours. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Season 2, Episode 5, Magic City Classic. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.